Good morning. Good morning. It's Naturally Caffeinated Dale here. Today is Thursday. It is January 14th, 2021, and this is your positive quote of the day. Your positive quote of the day today is from a guy named George Bernard Shaw, often known as Bernard Shaw. He was an Irish playwright, critic, and political activist. And he said this. Here's what he said. He said, "You see things and you say, why? But I dream things that never were, and I say, why not?" And I think that has a lot to do with perspective. So if you want to kind of think about perspective for a moment, there are people out there that tend to maybe be a little bit more pessimistic, or maybe just challenge the way things are that exist, or they maybe have an issue with something. They may not have the most positive outlook. But for someone that is a dreamer, someone that truly thinks that all things are possible, or at least they want to think about and dream about the things that might be possible, they may ask, why not? They may maybe try to dig into what might be possible, what might happen if we were to put certain resources toward it. I actually worked for someone at one point that said, here's what we're trying to accomplish, or what is the most aggressive thing that we could do to break free of the competition, or really excel, or really do amazing things, or really do well. And someone would throw out, if there were no limitations, if limitations didn't exist, and people would basically throw out these crazy ideas. But when doing that, some of those ideas that might seem completely unrealistic or crazy may have some good substance to it. There might be some good components to it. And then by saying, okay, if that was to happen, what other little things might have to happen down here in order to get to that achievement, in order to get to that goal? And by really kind of pushing the envelope, the people like Steve Jobs and people that really kind of went above and beyond things that we all thought were possible, they did that. Elon Musk, they do that by thinking of something that is so far-fetched and so unrealistic, but it really is an amazing goal to have, or an amazing dream to have. And then they start breaking it down and saying, okay, what would prevent us from getting there? And they start identifying those things. And then they say, okay, if we could remove some of these barriers, what would we be able to do? And then what might be possible? And then they say, well, okay, if those weren't there, then we could do this, this, and this. Okay, well, what would we have to do to remove those? So they really kind of start by the dream, and then they break it down to some things that would have to be removed, or barriers that would have to go away in order to do it. They attack those barriers, they work on those challenges, and then they say, okay, now it's a little more realistic. It's still not completely realistic, but now let's work on these. What would we have to do to remove these barriers? You can do that in your daily life. And the lesson here, or the sum here, is that there are things that seem extremely arduous, extremely challenging, extremely lofty. But the truth is, if they're important enough to you, and you start removing individual barriers, all of a sudden that really unreachable or unattainable goal or dream might all of a sudden start becoming a little bit more realistic for you. So my suggestion is this: simply start identifying what it is that you can start removing as barriers to make your goals, your dreams, a little bit more realistic in your daily life. Thank you so much for watching the channel. I appreciate you. Please like, subscribe, turn on post notifications, and I will be very, very happy to talk to you again tomorrow.